Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel and welcome back to my Dune Awakening content. So today folks, I want to talk to you about the big patch that just hit the test server today. If you're playing on the official server, you'll see, if you look in the bottom left hand corner of the screen, you'll see that we are on 1.1.17.0 numbers. That's the version that we're playing on right now on the officials. But on the test server that went live this morning, they dropped 1.1.20. This is going to be a huge update for Dune Awakening. It's going to have a lot of things in it. And I want to kind of go over the high points about a lot of the stuff that's in this update. Now, I want you to just kind of bear with me here. Sorry about my base. It's a mess. I'm right in the middle of a base restructure. I got to do some redesign and some things I'm changing around and I want to kind of fix and stuff like that. So just kind of bear with the mess while I go over the updates in the new test client, because that's what's important, not the mess in my base, but all this stuff they're going to fix. So on the test server, they're saying that it's going to hopefully drop about August the 12th. That's the plan right now, if everything goes well in testing. If you guys get in there and you find a lot of stuff that they didn't intend, and which is good, that's what it's for, they may have to delay that while they fix some stuff depending on what you find. But if we get in there and the update is good and solid and everything looks good, their plan is to drop it on August 12th. So that's close to about 2 weeks from now. It went live today, and you can, you'll get to test a lot of new mechanics. Like some of the big ones are, we're finally going to be able to, and yes, this is something we have been waiting on since like first week of release. We're finally going to get the ability to deposit all and take all on our blood and water systems. That's going to be huge. That's going to be something that I have wanted so bad. And you can obviously see, because of all the dew plants that I have in my base in this area, I have a huge dew field. And being able to take all and deposit all from the water collection system is just going to be huge for me. That's probably going to be my number one or number two thing from this update that I personally love the most. So we're going to get to test that. We're going to get to see how that is going to work. We're also going to get to test the new Ornithopter collision system to help with griefing. And what that's going to do is, if you've been in the deep desert recently and for about the last month, you know what it's like when a carrier gets over you and starts slamming you down to the ground. That's one of the best tactics that a lot of the people that like to grief and like to play dirty like to do. They like to get over you, press you to the ground. You can't get up, you can't move, you get swallowed by a sandworm, you get pinned down, you get shot, you get blown up. They steal your bird, steal your crawler, whatever. But that's going to be a thing no more, hopefully, because the new system, that the new collision system that they're going to put in place, is going to cause those collisions to make both vehicles separate from each other, instead of allowing you to just keep on hammering on somebody like you're trying to drive a nail in a 2x4. Every time you hit, it's going to bounce you backwards, and that's going to cause you to not be able to use that as a griefing mechanic. So you guys that capitalize on that and be big jerks out in the deep desert, you're going to have to figure out something else. And that's probably my number two thing that I'm most happy about. I hope that works, because it's one of the things that's the most aggravating thing in the world, especially when you get stuck under a carrier or two with a big old fat body pushing you down on the ground and you can't move. It's so frustrating. So frustrating. And then people just love it. They just can't take it. They just get their jollies on it. And that's ridiculous. That should have never been a thing. That's just bad design. And this is them obviously realizing this and fixing it. And, the reason why they're doing this kind of stuff is, I'll have to give them credit. The reason why they're fixing these kind of things is because they're listening to you guys. They're listening to your feedback. They're listening to what you say. is some of the things that are the most painful about playing the game, and they're actually doing something about it. So that's good. That's really good because that shows that they are listening, and that's really good. That's what we want to see above all, is that they are taking the feedback of the player seriously. So one of the things that's going to be really interesting about this testing event for these 2 weeks is they have said that we would be able to claim some top tier vehicles to help you test. So you should be able to claim tier 6 buggy, scouts, assaults, and a carrier by July 30th, it's said from the main menu. I have not actually been able to make that work yet, but that's what they said. So I'm hoping that that's going to be a thing, because on the test server, that would be very handy. Now, I personally haven't leveled the character up too much on the test server yet, but I'm actually working on that now because I found out how cool it is to be able to test those things in advance so that I can help make those new abilities and bug fixes and things like that a reality with feedback, because I care about the game and I want to see it do well. So trying to help with that kind of feedback is really key, and I know that they appreciate it. Let's move on to the building system. There's going to be some different things go on there. They're going to enable the ability for you to put pillars between walls now. So that should enable people to get just a little bit more creative with their building designs. That should enable some different snap points in the building designs. That should be kind of cool and allow some funky kind of designs, more so than we have now. There is going to be a desert mechanic decoration available at the vendors for a purchase, and I don't know if that's like a new sand bike variant or what, but that's kind of the word on the street right now. As far as the building system goes, they've also said that they're going to update the Slido replicators to make them easier to use, because they were just a little bit wonky right now, and some love would be nice to have seen them put into effect for those as well. That would be really cool. We're going to see lots of balance features to the economy, vehicle crafting to make the game feel more solid. And like I said, the reason why we're seeing these things, the reason why they're doing these things, is because they're listening to the community feedback. So kudos Funcom for that. We really appreciate it. We love it when a company that makes a game that we all love takes our feedback seriously. That's a pretty awesome thing to see in action. So if we want to talk about one of the things that's near and dear to me is the economy. There's going to be a big list of changes for the economy. One of the things that I am personally very thankful for is you will be able to search by item name in the auction house, in the exchange. And that's going to be huge. That's going to be very helpful. That's going to make it so much easier than having to drill down through all these menus to find what you're looking for, if you can just throw up in the search part of a name of an item and then, hit search and boom, it'll go. I just hope that it's not so picky that it doesn't require you to perfectly spell out the whole item name. I hope that just, partial characters of the item, like the first 3 letters and then hit search, will allow you to bring it up, and that'll be so much more fast and so much more helpful. One of the things that I thought was super interesting that I heard about the economy changes are going to be that liquid in containers that you sell to vendors will have more value now. So basically what that means is the more liquid that's in the container that you sell to a vendor, the higher price you're going to get for that item. So if you sell a container that has 1 tick of water in it versus one that has 6, the container that has 6 will give you a higher Solari. And that should possibly work with blood bags as well, if that's a possibility, if that's a thing. I'm not really sure. But I am going to be testing this because I think that has potential to help, new players and players that are actually experienced players possibly find ways to kind of leverage the water market to be able to provide themselves with Solari. And we'll kind of see what the return and what the cost involved is as far as making those containers and then turning around and flipping them to see, what kind of return that's going to be. That's going to be interesting. I'm really stoked to test that out personally myself, because I'm a big economy nerd, so that's always cool for me. There's going to be a ton of fixes for vehicles. Like we said, the ornithopter collisions are now going to push each other apart. This should hopefully stop the carrier griefing, the carrier bashing. That's huge. We talked about that already. That's my number 2 favorite thing about this update. The boost speed on your flyers is going to go up by 10%. So that should help you be able to kind of get away or, get somewhere faster. That should be really cool. And if you've designed the vehicle to be able to be a booster like that, then why not? That's its role. So help those vehicles fill their role a little better. The duration on scanners and wings has been halved in most cases, so that's going to be kind of, I don't know. We're going to have to really look at that because wings were already kind of fragile as is. So if they've been halved, I don't know about that one. There's going to be new heat and speed tuning, which, like we talked about, will help define the role better of the flyer vehicles and allow them to fill their role a lot better. Carriers will be able to drop cargo and flee with the boost right away. That'll help them not feel so vulnerable because, I know if you've ever played with a carrier and a crawler type thing, you always feel so vulnerable right after you drop that crawler. You can't get away from nothing. If anybody happens to pop in on you, you're in big trouble. But if you're able to boost out of there, then if you're planning on dropping and going, you can get out of there and hopefully feel a lot better, a lot safer about it. They are going to introduce a new tutorial about the stagger mechanics, and this is probably not for veteran players really, because we really get, we get the stagger mechanics already, but that's something that probably could have used a little bit of, help for new players to be able to help them understand those mechanics just a little bit better. So that's, a little bit more direction at the start is always a good thing like that. So I like the sound of that idea for sure. They're going to get a big glow up on the search bars and the crafting menus. So that's going to be really cool because crafting menus are something that I'm always really super interested in because I love to do crafting. And they're going to have some controller improvements, which is a big deal for me as somebody who's sort of a disabled gamer. My left hand's kind of messed up, and I need to use a controller because I can't really use a keyboard very effectively. WASD is just not really a thing for me. Having better controller action and function is so crucial for me. So I really, really appreciate that. They're supposedly going to do a glow up on the combat UI and, polish up on the dagger moves and stuff like that. That's what we've heard. So that sounds like a lot of really cool things. When we get to talk about the bug fixes section, that's something that, oh my gosh, there's just so many different things have been mentioned that have been fixed. And I'm just going to have to let you go through and read those for yourself because there are so many things, and I could make this video an hour long if I went through and talked about all those, but I don't want to do that. I want to kind of keep this video just quick and relative to the patch so that, you're aware of what's coming and you know what's out there and know that the really cool testing event is going on right now. I think we all need to really take part in this and put our effort towards helping Funcom make these improvements to the game a lot better, test them, and make sure they work right. That way, we as players, whenever we play the game, we can say, yeah, I had a part in making sure that worked good, and not be those guys that just sit back and say, oh, man, this new update sucks. It's broke. This don't work. That don't work. Well, get in there and test it and help them find these things that could possibly be problems, and we can make them all be better for us all on release. So anyway, I appreciate you watching today. I hope that you found some of this information helpful. And if you did enjoy the content and you feel like, it was worth your time, then think about subscribing and give me a thumbs up. I'm trying to grow my user base, and I'd appreciate your help on that. And I will see you again when there's some relevant information about this patch. I'm probably going to be watching this really super close because I want to see the, the announcements that they're putting out about it as we find bugs and as we fix things, and how the progress is going. Do they feel like they're on track? Do they feel like they'll make their August 12th delivery date? We'll have to see, because right now, from what I've heard, I think most of the developers in the Funcom offices for the Dune Awakening project are on vacation right now. So I guess they just sort of dropped this patch and then split. I don't know. That's what I've heard from some of the people that watch my content and comment quite frequently. They said they're out till like August the 6th or something like that. I don't know. That's kind of crazy this soon after release to just disappear on vacation, but I guess they need a break like everybody else. I don't know what else to say, but dadgum, man. We got a huge patch coming on the way, and we really need kind of all hands on deck right now. So, but anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this content. Thank you for watching. I appreciate you being here, and I hope to see you in another video about Dune Awakening coming soon. Peace.